ready to move into game number 3, at least the picks and bans this time. And this is the one that not only wins the game totally, but moves into that first place spot. If Heat Uprise and get it, they create some space between them and HypeUnit, some much needed space. And if HypeUnit grab this win, then they're right back in contention for that top team.
Another throwaway ban of the Artio. I love this idea from HypeUnit, but this time I think that they should maybe leave Arthur open. Last time in game number 1, they banned away the Arthur. So similar to game number 2, it worked out for them by banning Merlin, Arthur, or leaving those 2 open rather, so that they can get at least one or the other. But they would rather maybe force out the Arthur ban by banning away the Merlin themselves.
I think so, and looks like Heat Uprise are going to call that bluff totally. Merlin is banned, Jormungandr banned as well, and last time HypeUnit didn't prioritize the King Arthur here in this spot. They really have not yet at all, and exactly again they don't. HypeUnit almost stubbornly, it feels like, not valuing this King Arthur. Now to be fair to them, they bested it last game, so clearly it is something that they can handle, but I mean it's also real good, so you can definitely pick it up, and Heat Uprising are happy to do it.
No hesitation whatsoever.
And they
I think Delhi had a great game on the Arthur, and they also get the Xbalanque yet again for Fatal Ghost. Just a very comfortable pick. I think Xbalanque also went for game number 1 to Griffin. Didn't have the best showing because of all those ganks coming out, but if you leave the Xbalanque left uncontested, he's going to punish you in that late game.
And it'll be the Jingwei from Griff yet again that he'll be using to try and hold even with this Xbalanque. We've seen him do a lot of these builds where he'll elect to go into crit early on, so it makes some sense he's prioritizing the Jingwei. We saw him do Aussie boots, crit. I think with the Jingwei he did Devour's Gauntlets, boots, crits, or we'll very likely see that Rage built again.
Naja is going to be the option for Heat. I like it in terms of the aggression side of things, and also taking that option away from inbound specifically, something that he has played before in the past, and he likes these aggressive assassins, so trying to fight fire with fire.
That'll be the idea, is maybe see if they can be the ones establishing some pressure. I just don't know, man. So much of being able to beat the King Arthur in game 2 was that they had Baronic on that Merlin. If they don't have that Merlin available to them, I don't know if they should feel as confident about it. I mean, they're about to have their chance right now to show me that they can take down this King Arthur. And, you know, HypeUnit, they're the favorites, they're the ones I'm trusting. But it just feels like it would be an easier life if he wasn't in it.
Magical damage is always a great thing against a lot of physical warriors that are building physical defense early in their solo lane matchup and then transitioning later on once the mage is doing a lot of damage as well. So looking at the Vulcan selection for Baronic, he's no stranger to this god. He has a lot of experience with it, so I trust him to play the Vulcan at a same level, if not better, actually, than the Merlin, considering Merlin has lesser playtime in general since he's so new in general. But Vulcan, one good knockup is all it really takes, because then you got Achilles damage follow-up, Jingwei damage follow-up, into the Fatal Strike. HypeUnit have a plan to shut out this Arthur.
Heat Uprise are electing to wait on the pick for Crimson, though. A lot of mages have been taken away. Merlin, Zeus, and Agni. Then HypeUnit actually pick the Vulcan for themselves to try and limit the pool that's available for Crimson. Meanwhile, they grab the Vamana for themselves. So 2 warriors, again, without electing for a Guardian, at least not yet. And so far, Inbound has shown me no desire to play one, so I'm no surprised that it's not happening.
I'm hoping this is Achilles support for Inbound, Fenrir in the jungle for layers, and Vamana in the solo lane.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Fenrir support for him too, though. Especially if he's going to be aggressing around a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be good. We've seen them move a lot of moving around, as Raijin is the pick that comes in for Crimson. But, I mean, there's still plenty of options. I don't know what it is that Guardians ever did to these guys, but they've elected not to pick one.
Yeah, I don't know. But the magical damage so far is only out of Vulcan. Could that be a problem? Not necessarily, honestly, because if you overstack in the physical department, then I think Baronic is going to have a great game.
That's right. He's got a lot of options to get consistent damage off. Those cooldowns can be real low, and he can cycle through. So a lot of pressure going to be on Baronic for him to complete that one, and a lot of pressure on Delny to show him you can't give him King Arthur twice in a row. Either way, though, let's move into game number 3. HypeUnit about to go up against Heat Uprising, and we can give it over to Aggro and Taco to bring y'all the cast.
Maybe Baronic doesn't, or excuse me, maybe Inbound doesn't have a Guardian tab. Maybe his client is bugged.
You think that's what he tells his team?
Maybe. I actually don't think he's played a Guardian like all year.
But we keep saying this, but we can't just mess with Inbound about this. When I Am the Hamster is doing the exact same thing.
That's true. That's true. But Hamster, like, maybe he's played Guardians at all this year. We've seen a lot of Inbound, and he's never played one.
We have seen Hamster play Guardians in previous sets. Yes, I cannot deny that, but
maybe Inbound has as well. Maybe my memory is failing me, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like it. Also, I gotta ask you, Taco, HypeUnit bans Merlin themselves when in first pick.
It's because of the Jormungandr Xbalanque bans. I am the hamster as well with the successful ring bounce invade. Can't let that one go without the call out mention. Nice job to hamster. Both speeds being confirmed by Heat Uprise.
Yeah, but I mean, Baronic didn't even press his buttons in time. You just gotta press your buttons.
The man just got out of a 40-minute competitive game.
Competitive game, that's right. Felt like a ranked game.
I'm so used to calling it ranked at this point.
Yeah.
This is the problem with starting to stream again.
Oh no, Griff. Oh, great knock-up. May have been enough. No, First Blood still goes the way of Jungaru, but a good cleanup from Layers. Quick blink for himself. Actually ends up getting that kill.
I'm more surprised about the fact that Layers was even local to the area to blink over for the punish, but I can't say that Griff has anything to be upset about. It'd definitely be upsetting if you just die to an Erling out right there, but the fact that Layers was at least able to respond, and not only that, but it helps catch Layers up a decent bit because Jangaru got to farm out his standard jungle route in comparison to Layers, who's had to compromise since I am the Hamster was able to strip away that speed buff.
Yes, that's definitely a big boon that at least Griff's murderer gets caught and justice is served, but at the same time, First Blood bounty still went over to Jungaru. Layers still has that extra time pulled from him and doesn't even get the purple buff because Fatal Ghost and Hamster are able to get that for themselves.
Something else, and this is a little off topic, but I think the other thing with Inbound not really playing Guardians is HypeUnit, even when they had Chapo as their support, I don't think I ever saw Chapo play a Guardian.
No, he played a couple. He played Kepri. I remember in one of their Worlds games. Definitely, they preferred the aggressive stuff, but I do remember at least a little bit of Guardian play. Maybe Inbound's played some Kepri so far this year. Again, I don't remember every set, but feels like the ones that I've been remembering as of late have been all Warriors and Assassins.
I think HypeUnit just really enjoy careening their lead off of these hyper aggro supports. I mean, there's not very many supports out there, or pseudo support type gods like Fenrir that are going to be able to half health brutalize you.
And if there's a game to pick the Fenrir, I think this is it. I mean, very, very few interrupts on the other side. It's an aggressive Thunder Crash is one of the only ones. Wolves in trouble here on the right-hand side, but now willing to turn and fight a little bit as he's got Inbound coming in for some assistance. Unchained off the mark, though. But it's aggressive Thunder Crash. It's Naja, Sash, and Ultimate. And that's kind of it to interrupt that Brutalize.
Oh, beautiful blink from Layers. Just going to go directly to where Fatal Ghost end of that Rising Jaguar animation was going to be at. Fortunately, the Vamana just not enough damage early on. Only has those T2 boots. Inbound one more time, though, over the wall, trying to help confirm that Totem of Ku for his own team. And it will successfully go down in favor of Wolves in Inbound. But Inbound's been level 2 for a hot minute now, Aggro.
Yeah, weird. I tried to gank on the solo side, didn't really get a lot of farm there. Now he needs to absorb this wave, and Wolves is already behind on this side of the map because Inbound has been over here so much. Delny's hit level 5. I am the Hamster. Started over here and then rotated towards Duo, took a wave there, took a wave in mid. I mean, it's been a little bit more balanced, I would say, from where Hamster has gotten his farm as opposed to Inbound, who's definitely significantly behind in the XP department, as is Wolves already.
And it's actually funny because Inbound has spent so much time in solo throughout this set, predominantly because of the fact that Heat Uprise HypeUnit have also been. My brain is dying from both of these two names.
Are so
these two
so
names,
close.
dude, just every single time I see these two teams are going to play off against each other, my brain just hates it.
Oh, Taco, you weren't even here for. Oh no, now my brain is melted. What was it? There were two console teams that were just impossibly close together, and now I'm completely losing it. It was like there was Kaz, but it wasn't them. It was Excellence in Excel.
Oh,
that's what it was.
Yeah, I remember watching that.
Those were dark days for me, trying to remember which one I was talking about. Dark days for Inbound is I'm the Hamster, puts him on the black and white screen. Quick little sash. Again, the XP differential, a huge factor there.
And what I was trying to say about Inbound specifically, but before the whole Heat Uprise HypeUnit fiasco, is the fact that this is actually one of those games where I wish Inbound would spend more time in duo lane. Fenrir is so punishing for a Shibalanke. You cannot step up to the wave, especially now with a newly switched up Fenrir where Brutalize is the main emphasis of his kit, no longer the Unchained that used to be, I think, really limiting before. Now you still get those limiting factors, it's just coming in the form of Brutalize, and I just cannot stress it enough. Fatal Ghost, I think, kind of getting away with murder here by the fact that Inbound, I think it's also partially because of the fact that I Am the Hamster is kind of forcing Inbound to follow him around. But a level 4 Inbound could certainly use farm from somewhere that isn't solo.
Yes, I concur with that. Can we actually see what Inbound is leveling on the Fenrir? I wonder if he's still leveling the 1. No, he is leveling Brutalize. So I agree with you entirely. He should just be over in duo. Make Fatal Ghost miserable on that side of the map. As I said, he gets good targets just about everywhere. The Thunder Crash will get away from him, and that's about it. But the best one is Jibalanka, without a doubt.
Ooh. Fast trigger fingers there for Baran. Full trust that his support was going to connect with the Ragnarok. And he's not wrong, but a little unfortunate that all it cost I Am the Hamster is his own ult in exchange.
2 ults for 1. Shouts to the CC, the crowd control reduction on tank boots. Getting Hamster out of that one. Normally that's a true combo. With that CCR, not the case. Inbound now in some trouble as Darkest of Nights used. Tycho Drum's going to eviscerate him with ease. As now Wolves taunted back in, but he gets a good amount of damage off. Excalibur's Wrath doing some good work, and Griff shows up. Hello, what are you doing here? Layers puts down Crimson as all of a sudden Heat Uprise have to get on the run because there's more people here than initially anticipated.
That's the power of Jingwei, baby. Airstrike forward, just looking to bring down Delany, but it's going to be Layers who gets credit for the last hit. Baronic still not done entirely, however. Going to make sure that I Am the Hamster and Jangaru have fully backed off before returning to the mid lane. But what looked like a heads-up opportunity for Heat Uprise is just immediately 180'd as soon as Griff shows his face.
Yeah, that felt like a great fight for Heat Uprise, and then you're right. Griff shows up, and it's... Uh-oh, we're in trouble now. Griff loses a decent amount of poke onto his tower, 1.5, 2 waves. But in order to get 2 assists there and help his team actually end up winning a team fight, he might not get the most benefit out of it, but his team certainly thanks him for his rotation.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that both Crimson and Delany chose to use their own ultimates on Inbound. So without those big team fighting pieces, I think that that's what also helped Griff kind of swing the momentum of the fight back into HypeUnit's favor.
I've got no problem with them investing those ults into Inbound right away because they think it's going to be a 3-on-3 or 4-on-3 skirmish, and well, we take one of theirs out and we're in good shape. But then Griff acts as the equalizer. So now it's 3-3, everything equal in the set. It's 1-1. In the kills, it's 3-3. In the gold, they're 200 gold apart, so that's pretty much even. As we expected, kind of as advertised here in this one between these 2 top cards.
And that's kind of the beauty of, I think, the upper levels of competitive play when you have 2 teams that are just not only super familiar with each other and each other's play styles because of the fact that these players have been around each other for so long, but it's also kind of interesting to see where the focal points truly lay. And for both of these teams, again, that kind of just falls all the way back into the mid lane. Baronic and Crimson, they're 2 players that I think are very much known in the spotlight.
A lot of ultimates dumped into trying to kill Wolves, and it only costs him 1 to get out of danger. Only put him down to half health as well. Seems a bit ambitious to try and kill him from there. Maybe if Jangaru could have body blocked the Fatal Strike, that's a kill, but he wasn't in position to do that.
No, but Inbound might be in position to get picked if he's not careful. Unchained Stone gonna be applied, but it's the Windfire and Wheels taking Inbound straight up to the air to be met with his own demise at the bottom of Tycho Drums.
Good ultimate from Baronic. Chunks down Delny as Layers continues the chase, but doesn't end up finding a whole lot more after the fact. Inbound very far behind in this game now. Two levels down. He's 0-3 in comparison to Hamster's 2-0-1. Another ultimate on this right-hand side. Wolves this time much easier to kill without an ultimate to get away. Delny finally able to put his opposition in the dirt.
No one to interrupt, just Delaney, Wolves, and his best friend Jingaru. I think that at this stage, Wolves kind of just has to expect that there might be a secondary member in that solo lane now, whether it's Jingaru or Ryan the Hamster. Both of them have kind of just been taking turns at looking to apply pressure against this Achilles, and it's worked out really well. I mean, Inbound also kind of suffering because of that fact. As Inbound tries to make plays happen, Ragnarok onto Fatal goes, but that's just going to be cleansed from the Purification Beads, and just like that, 4 members out of nowhere for Heat Uprise to help defend their purple buff.
Certainly a win, though, for HypeUnit that they get Purification Beads away from Fatal Ghost, and Griff and Inbound survive a 2v4, though I don't know if they knew how many members were coming on over. As I mentioned, Inbound still pretty far behind, down about a level and a half right now to Hamster, and still going for that Blackthorn Hammer rush, trying to keep the aggression going potentially. He's looking to zone Hamster away, off the mark again on the Unchained, and now the Gold Fury leashed. Hamster misses that Windfire Wheels, Baran trying to turn it around. Decent Magma Bomb, but almost helps Hamster get away. Now Inbound CC'd and insta-killed by Jangaru. Crimson's ultimate there just as a formality. That was big burst damage coming out of the Erlong Shen.
And now it's starting to get pretty concerning when you look at Bobby's scoreline and factor in the fact that he's also only level 7, has a horrific emblem as well, arguably one of the worst relics you could possibly have as support from behind.
Has he even used it this game?
I don't think so, no.
I don't think so either.
I don't think I've seen him use a horrific even one time, and I also don't think it would have saved his life any of the times that he could have possibly used it. Meanwhile, Griff thinking about taking that 1v1 with Fatal Ghost, but backs off. I think might have even gotten psyched out by the fact that Fatal Ghost still wanted to box, probably expecting that a Ninja or an Erle might make a surprise guest appearance.
Well, Ghost is in such a bad position if he retreats fully from that position. His best option to fight is by standing in his own minion wave, and that's what he does. And you're right, I think that feigned Griff out a little bit, but also Griff probably realized that, I don't know if I can thread the needle through all these minions. Gold Fury started up again. Inbound actually gets the ultimate immune 6 sash from Hamster. Not only gets him out of the ult, but also puts layers a little bit lower than he'd like to be. Poke damage not there from Crimson, but still enough to force HypeUnit back. Great play from Hamster there, neutralizing Inbound.
You gotta hand it to Hamster. That
was nasty.
That was clean. He just embarrassed Inbound on that one. And he finds the Windfire Wheels max range onto Griff. Not sure if it's gonna amount to more airstrike. Gonna make sure of that, but no, it's the Raiju still sticking to Griff that brings him down in the end.
Clean from Hamster so far this game. 2-0 and 3. I don't know that you can give this dude Naja. He's really played well with it so far this set.
It's like Sino's little brother, dude.
Wow. I mean, Sino's kind of the reigning world's MVP. I don't know if we're ready to put Hamster there. His name is still I Am the Hamster Taco.
For these 2 games, for the 2 Ninja games that Hamster has played, he has definitely been on point with his Ninja.
Well, here's the question if he's really related to Sino. How much has he been raging?
See, I don't know Hamster well enough to answer this question for you, but
if he's not raging, then he's not Sino's little brother.
But what if Sino's little brother is actually just like the nicest kid in the world?
I would describe Sino as nice. He's just also a rager.
Yeah, but I'm saying like his brother never rages because Sino rages so hard.
Oh, you think all the raging genes
just
got
fell into that part of the family?
Yeah. Yeah, that can happen. No, you know what? It can't. I don't know. It's just too baked in. It's gotta be a genetic bloodline thing. It has to be.
Fair enough. You know him better than I do. I'll take your word for it.
There's no way. Heat Uprise, despite the hefty lead in kills, they're more than doubling HypeUnit thus far, have not gotten themselves a massive gold lead. Still fairly even there.
But it makes sense because when you think about it, most of Heat Uprising's kills have taken place against Inbound, and Inbound's worth like 20 gold at this point.
He's really minion number 7 at any given wave.
Might as well be. He's starting to certainly...
Yo, he uses horrific last fight though. Let's go.
And it's back up for the next fight. If HypeUnit decided that they want to take one, Jingaru trying to get a little bit aggressive there onto Griff, but as an Erlang trying to go in alone up into the Jingwei, usually not going to fare too well, but Inbound not going to be any bit deterred. Looking for Fatal Ghost here. Actually gets stuck just standing still in the Ragnarok. Might even end up dying here.
Inbound got a little juked there, to say the least. Layers on the receiving end of yet another ultimate from Hamster. Ultimate incoming from Baran does good damage onto Jungaru, but I don't know if that's a target he needed. Crimson doing what he can, needs to find one more. The Taiko Drums can't find it, and now Layer's gonna get in there and punish him for it. Crim had the relics too, just didn't get him off in time.
Baran just too quick in that Vulcan passive, man. When you're throwing out those abilities, that little extra percentage of movement speed can make all the difference. But even with that having been said, Heat Uprise actually going to be the ones pulling the Gold Fury. They lose their mid laner and they go for gold.
Gold Fury's low, but so is Jungaru. Inbound needs to hit this Unchained if he wants to find the kill. No horrific emblem for him, but no mana either for Jungaru. I actually don't know if he needs to jump at all. Jungaru's juking himself to death. And down he goes. Gold Fury now, again attempted. Fatal Ghost. Hey, brutalized. Can't get away from that. Good patience on the jump, though. Hamster speeds himself up, but a good slow from Layers. Not quite enough damage to bring him down. HypeUnit wanted the objective, but Heat Uprising's low health members, a ragtag group, come together to stop him.
Had HypeUnit's entire team not continued to chase, I think they could have actually stolen the Gold Fury. Instead, though, Crimson, whole world of trouble, not going to be able to get away this time around. Baran will find him with the over-the-wall meatball, but Inbound, as the past 2.5 minutes have gone incredibly well for this Fender since he last came out of base. We saw him gain a full level, I think, even for that last hit onto Jungaru. Went from 9 straight up to 10. Might have already been close to it, but that's besides the point. The main thing that I want to focus in on is Inbound went from being 2 levels behind Hamster to caught up in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, the kill on a Jungaru is certainly huge for him. There gets the kill or the assist on a Crimson on one that I just don't really get, Taco. I mean, Crim had relics again, lets himself get carried all the way to mid Harpies, and then Aegis is when he hits the ground.
Probably thought that there wouldn't be anybody, that Inbound was just ulting him as a bait to try and pull his relics. That's not something far-fetched to believe Inbound would do.
No.
And Crimson used to team with the guy. He probably knows him better than others.
Fortunately for Crim, there was a nice Vulcan waiting for you around the corner. Inbound delivered very nicely. Good delivery service. Got a 5-star rating, I'm sure, from Baran.
I don't know.
No?
Seemed like it arrived a little bit, you know, cold. Like you were expecting
He was like full health.
had it like 10 minutes ago, but it took you 10 minutes longer.
It's like he'd already taken a bite.
Exactly.
Get it? Because he actually bit him.
Well, I get
and it's
it.
also like a food joke, so it's like you could bite someone's food. It just kind of applies in like both parts of the.
Yeah, but then you just fully explained it.
Well, I just wanted to make sure everyone got it.
Yeah, but
I don't want to make anyone feel left out.
Just trying to share everything, aren't you?
That's right. Just doing my best.
Every part of your brain.
There's not a lot to share. Doesn't
I feel
take a
that, you
whole
know,
lot of time.
and that one resonates with me pretty heavily.
Gold Fury down to half HP. Givalanke ultimate may be enough to deter. Not quite. HypeUnit secure it. Baran's ultimate. Good purification beads from Griff gets him out of that Windfire Wheels as well. And a quick disengage seems to be the menu option for HypeUnit from here. The rest of Heat Uprise very quickly making their way left to right, heading towards that Pyromancer.
Red buff about to spawn, though, and you know that Baran doesn't want to let that one go for free. Instead, is going to be behind the Hamster, who gets caught out. Took a path very different than the rest of his team. And the Heat Uprise will find the T1 tower in mid for it, but it's the power play option now for HypeUnit, and they're just going to take a look straight at this Pyromancer for good reason and make up for that 500 gold that they just ended up losing, and it would open up the map pressure a little bit more so for them to try and work around and look for future punishes into Heat Uprise should they overstep their boundaries again.
Turns out, when you actually pick people up with Ragnarok, it's pretty good. Does a lot for your team. That's 2 kills in a row off that Ragnarok ultimate. Hamster's ultimate already expended. He goes the wrong way, as you highlighted, and an easy punish for HypeUnit, who are now back in the gold lead, but only by about 500. Experience looks like it'll be about the same. Slight lead in the jungle for Layers, who's sitting at 4-0-1. A much better game for him on this Warrior in comparison to the Sun Wukong we saw him on in Game 1.
And Inbound, for as much as we like to joke around about the early game performances, he's done a pretty decent job at bringing himself back into relevancy for this match. I definitely think that he was getting pretty close to being on the brink of uselessness, and I'm pretty sure his team might have also said the same thing to him in-game, knowing these guys. So, great recognition, I think, from Inbound to start cleaning things up around the edges, because when you're missing that many Ragnaroks or just not even getting off your Ragnarok as Fenrir, you're losing out on a lot of early game pressure opportunities that I think definitely hampered HypeUnit, but ultimately hasn't seemed to prevented them from bringing it back.
Interesting choice from Hamster to not go Blink or Sprint, especially in response to the horrific emblem from Inbound, but instead go for the Cursed Ankh to try and kill. This is exclusively to try and kill Layers, I imagine, once he transforms, but couldn't Crimson have just built Divine Ruin and been okay?
Possibly, but honestly, I like the idea of a Cursed Ankh here, especially if I'm the Hamster. If he rushes the early upgrade, I'll like it even more, but in its current state, I think that it poses enough of a threat to HypeUnit where Layers can't necessarily just dive the backline like he might have originally been intending to do with this Vamana in team fights. It's going to take more than just Layers or even Wolves, I think, to truly and efficiently punish Heat Uprise's carries. And if you have to worry about a Cursed Ankh while you're trying to just focus on getting to the backline to begin with, I'm not even sure that Layers is going to have enough time inside of that Big Baby ultimate to get there.
Jungaru trades his ultimate for Layers beats. Again, feels like Jungaru's been trading his ult for beats basically all day long, and that's a good thing in my mind for Heat Uprise. You want Jungaru to be aggressive on this Erlong Shen and also set up for Hamster. Now this means that if a Sash lands on a Layers, it's a guaranteed ult off of it. Problem is, do they have enough damage when he hits the ground is my question. Not a lot of instant burst, I would say, on this team. Raijin much more about AoE spread throughout the team fight damage more so than I'm killing this guy right away.
Well, Inbound hoping to try and kill the Hamster. Or not really kill, but it's always nice as a Fenrir whenever you can try and force something out with your Brutalize. I think that Inbound has the right idea because laning phase has been over for a while now between these two teams. They're mostly just group roaming right now, waiting for the other to slip up so they can look to capitalize.
Oni Fury going to be spawning soon on that left-hand side. Definitely has slowed down the pace, though, as they wait for the next easier objective to take. Griff again going for... Oh, I was going to say again going for a crit build before I even looked down. I just kind of assumed he was doing it. Instead, he's going for a more pen-oriented build this time around. Exi into the Aussie. Now is going to be building into Chin Size. That's the last item you could possibly get from the Light Blade tree. Why do you think he's going pen this time if there's no Thorns on the other side for Delny or Jungaru?
Might just be to help deal with the shredding of... I'm really, honestly, Aggro, I got nothing, man. I'm trying to...
I mean, it's a good build, right?
It's not an awful build. I like double sustain. I love double life steal even, but attack speed and pen maybe not as necessary into these squishier compositions. Could just be what players are more comfortable with. And Griff, I think just when dealing with the King Arthur, you can never play it too safe. So I understand from that perspective alone.
Well, Inbound's ult is down, but so are the Purification Beads for Ghost. Ultimate's there from Delny, is up and over the top comes that Vulcan ult, dings Jungaru for over 1,000 damage, but Layers in the midst of everybody. He's already on the receiving end of that Cursed Ankh, and that does force him back, but Hamster splits the uprights and finds nobody. Layers stomps him down as Wolves does eventually fall to Delny. Griff has to use his Purification Beads, but not before Layers finds himself a nice little double kill on the right-hand side. He gets Hamster and Ghost, both dual lane members, down by the hand of Layers, but HypeUnit lost their two frontliners.
Look at the sustain, though, from Griff. Griff could even, with Baranic's help, look to burst down this Oni Fury if Heat Uprise aren't careful, but I think Jungaru probably all too suspecting that might have been the call from HypeUnit. It's going to continue to hover this Gold Fury territory. trying to spot out this Jingwei, see if there might be some probable punishing in case she pushes up too far. But Griff had already resustained himself to full health, so if anything, I think that Jangaru might have even died had Griff realized that Erlong Shen was still around.
Jangaru has a decent amount of health, I'd say, but not a lot. It's only that from Runeforged Hammer, which is certainly a lot less than Blackthorn. I believe it's only 250 coming from Runeforged. A little bit from this Shield 2, which I don't know how much I love. This is going to be on Chile here. He picked it up in game 1, I believe, on the Achilles with, again, only one magical damage dealer, and Baranic's hitting you from far enough away that I don't know if that's going to matter.
It's got to be the runic. Oh.
Maybe he's hoping that he's getting brutalized, and then he gets hit from a distance, and that silences Fenrir. It could happen.
If I stare at it long enough, it'll go away.
No, I don't think so. Probably not. Well, I guess if you stare at it long enough, eventually the game will end and it won't be there anymore. That's the strat.
Option number 2.
Yeah, that's the strat, I suppose. Baranic gave Hamster a nice help in a meatball in that last little poke exchange and saw how much damage he did to the enemy. He's already got his Soul Reaver complete. He's looking for him. Jangaru also coming around the back, but Delny is being hand-delivered, and Baranic is going to eat that up easily. Fatal Ghost does bring down inbound on the other side, though, and Jangaru chases down Baranic with relative ease. Now it's Layers trying to do what he can, but he gets shut down by Crim. Wolves trying to hunt down Crimson now in retaliation, but I just don't know if he's got the damage. He's surrounded now by 3 members of Heat Uprise. Wolves down to his last sliver of HP, but instead it's Griff who becomes the focus for Hamster and Crimson because they know Jangaru almost had it towards the top side. Now he will likely have it eventually. Auto attack finally gets it done. Thank you very much. 4 kills for Heat Uprise and an Oni Fury for the prize.
Definitely was not an easy fight, but overall, I think that Heat Uprise just took advantage of that Raiju spread. HypeUnit grouped on each other just a little bit too much, and that made it incredibly easy for that Raiju to just continuously bounce around, got everybody super low on the front line. Layers, I almost forgot that he was there because he just blew up so fast.
And again, that's credit to the upgraded Cursed Ankh that Hamster picked up. I was a little bit skeptical of it. I thought maybe Crimson could just pick up some anti-heal, but by picking up the Cursed Ankh, it allows Crimson to go his normal build. Doesn't have to worry about the anti-heal. This is better overall effective damage against this tank, even though he's healing. Now the Cursed Ankh means that that's not as relevant. And now he's finishing off a Soul Reaver, so if you thought he was doing a lot of damage before, it's only getting worse now.
And if Jangaru can continue to find Crimson, or excuse me, Baranic by himself, then I can't be as upset about the Ankile pickup because it worked out incredibly well when he went for that transformation into the Mink form. Baranic tries to cast out a backfire, gets the damage off, but silences himself immediately after, and the movement speed alone in that Fatalis effect was already going to be enough for Jangaru to seal the deal on that one, but as long as Jangaru can forcibly make himself melee range, it's fine.
Inbound. Receives a little bit of poke, but not that much. Inbound, I think, he gets a really good engagement to that Oni Fury fight. Pulls in Delny, they insta-kill him. But then Inbound dies before getting a Relic off, I believe, and just took too much damage from Fatal Ghost, and maybe if he gets a shell off before he dies, that whole fight changes.
Also decently controlled by the Taiko drums there from Crimson. Just great awareness off of Crimson to know to toggle damage or control. Speaking of which, Inbound hoping to control Crimson and Fatal Ghost, just barely managing to survive. Shell gonna buy him a little bit more time, but he did get both of his relics off this time.
Wolves trying to finish off Fatal Ghost, eventually does. Jangaru will taunt him in and get retaliation, but it's not before Layers has gotten himself a double again on a couple of those backliners, and Hamster. Baranic doing what he can. He used the Purification Beads to try and get away from Delny. Griff notches his 3rd in a row, and now Baranic, Layers, and Griff surging forward, looking for Jangaru. Enemy jungler still plenty healthy. I don't think there's any way that these 3 can do an Enhanced Fire Giant on their own, but a mid-tier 1, that seems doable.
If it wasn't for Jangaru being healthy enough to contest, I actually think that HypeUnit had a chance on that Enhanced Fire Giant, but Baranic decided to head elsewhere. kind of understanding that Jingaru probably wasn't going to let that FG go for free, and as such, no one from HypeUnit wants to look at the enhanced Fire Giant. T2 could be a possibility here, or Layers and Griff might be able to realize that those red buffs just spawned. They're going to make sure to turn back around.
Absolutely.
Good eye from Griff, too, because they almost walked away from that one.
Yeah, I think it was Layers who heard it spawning right as he walked around the corner. So good work to strip that away from the opposition. But Layers has been a real, I mean, unless that Cursed Onk is up, which I believe it was still down for that last team fight, seems like Layers is really wreaking havoc on these fights. 8-1 so far for him. He's done not the most player damage, but it's all been relevant player damage for him. He hasn't been completely just last-hitting people all by himself.
It just doesn't feel good, though, as a Raijin or even a Najah to try and invest your ultimates. If you use the Taiko drums on Layers, he just goes into Big Baby form. And the same case scenario, if you try to get the wind, fire, and wheels off, even if you get him up into the air initially, when he lands, he's going to go Big Baby form. And unless you have that Cursed Onk ready to toggle on for the rest of your team to follow up, I just don't think that it's feasible for Heat Uprise to kill this big, or to kill Vamana fast enough that the rest of HypeUnit can't look to punish them for whatever cooldowns they might have to expend. And so because of that, Heat Uprise, I think, are just finding themselves in these really extended engagements that they probably didn't want to have to wait out. And HypeUnit are able to find themselves coming out on top of it because Griff is just constantly surviving in comparison to Fatal Ghost.
And now it's an even harder to target decision if you're on Heat Uprise, because Baran has finished a Mantle of Discord as his 6th item, going for a bit of protection. Vulcan really does enough with the 5 items, and this is a good way to get Jingaru off of him, who needs to stay in melee range if he's going to be dealing damage to you. I think the Mantle here is a good pickup for Baran.
I also love the fact that Baran has the Soul Reaver just in case Heat Uprise tries to make their front line a little bit tankier via health, and stacking on all that health isn't going to do you any good when trying to handle Baran now. This game just keeps going longer and longer aggro, and both of these teams don't seem very interested in that enhanced Fire Giant.
No, it's already 32 minutes in, and instead it's a Primal Fury that's being pulled right now by Heat Uprise. They've got it down to about 2/3 HP before the reset. No crit either for Fatal Ghost. Both hunters going for a more pen-oriented build. Better against the front line, worse against the objectives. So Primal Fury, Enhanced Fire Giant, all of it. Took a little bit longer to go down. Inbound starts it up for HypeUnit this time around. Stun off the mark. The speedy Najah just a little bit too slippery. Both solo laners still in the solo lane, soaking up a bit of extra farm.
Inbound, still trying to regress into this Primal Fury. He wants Heat Uprise to contest because it would probably be one of HypeUnit's better fights, I think, around the Gold Fury Pit in comparison to the Fire Giant. A little bit harder to see, I think, for those long-range Vulcan ultimates.
Ultimate onto Hamster. Ooh, Baran not there to follow up, and now Inbound is going to go out because of it. Baran finally steps up and is able to put down Hamster with relative ease after the fact, as Jingaru gets both relics away from Baran, but now getting chased down by Layers. Over the top comes for Baran, and it forces out the Aegis from Fatal Ghost, and right back towards the objective go HypeUnit. Soul laners still chasing each other around and having a grand old time on the right-hand side. You know what soul laners do 34 minutes into the game. You definitely have the ability to solo one another, for sure.
You think they're playing tag?
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, Taco. It's 34 minutes in.
Delaney's gonna get him. Oh, no. Okay, yeah. Wolves just tagged Delaney, so now Delaney
is it
looking for his opening, but he can't tag back the same person, right? That's kind of lame.
Well, there's a tag cooldown. I don't think he hit him. He hit him.
He hit the buff.
He got the buff. That's better.
He hasn't tagged him back, though.
What are soul laners doing in solo 34 minutes in? I don't get it.
Well, they're not with their team, and I think it's made the fights a little bit more interesting around Primal Fury, although Heat Uprise, HypeUnit might not be super happy about it, but hey,
Yeah, I'm spam pinging Wolves if I'm on his team.
I'm not gonna lie, though. Are you really that upset if Delaney, a King Arthur, is not in the fight because Wolves is just messing with him on the opposite side of the map? I cannot say that that is a super upsetting moment.
All right, sure. I won't spam ping Wolves then if I'm on his team. I'm spam pinging Delny if I'm on his team. And I'm going, come help us.
See, that's a fair one. That one, I got nothing for that.
Hey, solo laners are here this time around. Primal Fury below half. Inbound picks up Drengaru. That gets his purification beam. His layers, as soon as he gets that Raiju, backs it up. Delny gonna blink in, look for Baronic. No ultimate for him, but what follow-up's really gonna be there? Hamster is there, and Baronic gets the CC immunity from the Mantle of Discord, actually, is what saves him, but not for very long. Fatal Ghost finally puts him down as Layers gets eviscerated again. Cursed Ankh, the bane of his existence so far this game. 3 dead quickly. Now Griff has to get on the horse and run away. Wolves still plenty healthy. So he's already gotten 1 kill for himself in this fight, I believe, but that is going to be all HypeUnit get. Heat Uprise. 3 for 1, excuse me. Really punishing Baronic for not having those relics.
But Heat Uprise, they don't want the Primal Fury, or at least not right away. They wanted that T2 tower a little bit more so. Now they're making their way back over to that Primal Fury pit and could just be looking to siege it. That way, maybe the Enhanced Fire Giant starts being looked at now that Heat Uprise is going to have that additional power against him. But it definitely has not been easy for either of these teams, even just to find that Primal Fury. So I can only imagine what the engagement is going to look like when both teams are kind of relying on the other to pull this Fire Giant first.
Well, that's 1 Primal Fury at the very least in Heat Uprising's back pocket. We're nearing 37 minutes. 37 kills in total. In this one, Heat Uprising have a slight lead in the kill department, the gold department, and the XP department, because Hamster is level 20 where Inbound is not. Other than that, we're looking pretty even between these two. Major difference being that Heat Uprising has taken way more towers off the map than HypeUnit have. By way more, I mean 2 more, but it's 2 tier 2s, which is pretty relevant in this instance. Inbound has the ultimate. He's going to pick up Hamster. There's the ultimate from Baronic up and over the top. Mantle of Discord nearly got Hamster a window to use that ultimate, but not enough. 3 ults used, though. Wolves even tossed his Fatal Strike in the ring.
Love that persistent gust, though, from Griff. That's what I think stops Hamster and dead in his tracks from trying to look for that getaway experience. And now in the 4v5 power play, HypeUnit, instead of looking for the Fire Giant, they're looking for the fight.
They know Drengaru has no beads, actually has him back up just in time. And he's going to use him right on time to get out of danger. That was also Fatal Ghost's ultimate simultaneously. Meanwhile, left-hand side, tier 2 tower crumbles. That opens up a window to a Phoenix and a win condition for HypeUnit as they head back now towards that Fire Giant. No ultimate here for Baronic to secure, and they might need it. Delny creeping closer. Inbound doing his best to keep him out, as is Wolves, and Fire Giant goes down for HypeUnit. Wolves has to Fatal Strike away, is now Inbound controlled as well. Wolves already dead. The other frontliner might be soon to follow. Inbound 1 HP, but instead it's Ghost who gets erased by Baronic and Layers. Great CC and combo from them. And now it's Crimson in a lot of trouble. Griff doing what he can. He puts down the enemy mid laner. It looks like a horrible fight for HypeUnit. Now is Heat Uprising on the run.
Heat Uprise just went a little bit too deep and split apart from each other. It can't be Fatal Ghost leading the charge on a chase. It's a Shibalanke. He's just going to get torn apart. And Layers, wasting no time whatsoever, just going to continue moving forward alongside of his squad. I also think that was incredibly well played by Griff. His positioning was perfect by pushing into the Fire Giant pit instead. Crimson had no idea that Griff was still in that Fire Giant pit and attacking Delany, or at least I don't think that he was expecting him to be there. It looks like a little bit of miscommunication.
Baronic gonna launch that ultimate right onto the Titan as HypeUnit trying to close the set and get back to second place, but Griff out the door already. Not a great start for HypeUnit if they want to end. Baronic on the run, has a couple frontliners on him, but look at the damage that Layers is putting onto the Titan. HypeUnit come in and